Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do pixel art on Procreate. A lot of people have been asking me to do a tutorial on this, and I have done a short one before, but it wasn't very in-depth, so I'm going to go into absolutely everything that I do in this one. Here are some examples I've done. I've done this little fish, I've done this pigeon, I've done a little house, and I've also done this like scene, like more landscapey one. I've done a lot more, but those are like the main 4 different ones that I've done. So what you do first is you start on a canvas. Now the canvas is going to be very small. The canvas is going to be 150 pixels by 150 pixels, and you might think that that is way too small, but I promise you can upscale it afterwards and also keep the quality, like you won't lose any quality at all. So it's completely fine. Brushes that I use are from Itai Monero. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. It's a free pixel brush pack, and it has 1 pixel brush in it and 2 dithering brushes in it. You can buy the set which has more brushes in it, and I think it's pretty good and definitely worth it. But I used the free one and I managed to make pixel art completely fine with just that one. Now for me in pixel art, I start off with the silhouette of whatever I'm drawing. So I'm drawing strawberry with like chocolate on it, like melted chocolate on it, and start off completely with the silhouette of it. I kind of just do it by eye, very messily, and then I erase it afterwards to get the shapes correct. I think I do this because the thing with pixel art is you're using a square brush, and I think it's very important, especially when you're drawing textures, kind of like the chocolate falling off the strawberry. It's kind of like a gloopy texture, and I think it's kind of difficult to get that when you're using a square brush when it's quite circular. So I think nailing the shapes first before I do anything else is a very important step to me. To erase anything, I also use the same pixel brush that I'm drawing with, so just the single pixel. I use it to erase and like carve out the shapes a bit more accurately. And once I've done the outline of the strawberry, I probably should have done a different colour. It looks kind of gross in red, but it's fine, we'll ignore that. Once I've done the outline, I make a new layer on the top and I set it to a clipping mask. Now clipping mask is great because it basically stops any colours or anything you do on that layer from going outside of whatever is on the layer below it, if that makes sense. So on this layer, I'm just going to lay down all of the flat colours that's on the image. So I start off with the leaves and then I go on to doing the chocolate before I start doing any shadows or any kind of rendering whatsoever. Now, I always start off doing shadows first. I don't know if that's just because that's usually what I do in my regular like art process, but I start off with shadows and I kind of do what I would do when I'm painting or when I'm doing any other art, is just build up the shadows very slowly, kind of darken them as I go. And then once I feel like I've done a good amount, I start also showing the lighter areas in it. So on the chocolate, I'm just putting in some of the light bits. I really struggle doing the chocolate actually because it's a very specific texture and I think it's a bit difficult to get. It's kind of like a liquidy texture. It's kind of difficult to get that in pixel art, or at least I don't know if I've really done it before. So it was definitely an experience to try this, but we're trying it together and I decided to do it in a tutorial also. But I think it turned out okay in the end. And then I'm just doing the highlights on the seeds and any other highlights that I see. It's kind of like a very basic kind of rendering. I think with pixel art, it's more about contrast rather than anything else, like rather than blending and stuff like that. It's kind of about contrast and depth and shape, I think, which is just, I feel like I'm just throwing keywords out. It's all about shape and it's all about contrast. Once I feel like I'm okay with the clipping mask, I merge the layers together, and then I just do any more details or erase any kind of parts of it that I think need to be erased. Like if I don't like a particular shape, like I didn't really like the shape of the chocolate falling off, so I made that a bit more round, and then I added a bit more like of a brown colour for the chocolate because I think it was losing that a little bit. I think there was too much shine going on. And once I feel like I'm done with that, I can move on to line art. Now, line art for me is a really fun process. Basically, I make a layer underneath the main drawing to do the line art. And this makes it a lot easier because you can kind of just go crazy with it and not really have to make it neat or anything because you can tidy it up afterwards. So basically, I just kind of like scribble pretty much. I basically just scribble around the outside of whatever I'm drawing. But there was a commenter actually on one of my reels where I was doing pixel art and I was doing the outline, and they said that if I wanted to like speed up the process, and I can use the select tool, expand the border to preferred width, inverse it, and then fill it, which I think was really helpful, and I think a lot of people will probably enjoy doing that more. I'm just weird and I really like the process of like individually outlining the shape. But if you want a more speedy process, then I think that this would be a really good way for you to do it. I'm not entirely sure how you do that on Procreate, but I assume that it's kind of similar, however they explain it. Plus, I might try that if I ever start making stickers again, because that sounds really helpful when doing a sticker outline. As Gloomy Dealing said, thank you, Gloomy Dealing, for your comment. But yeah, basically I do outline and then I kind of clean it up afterwards, and I just find it therapeutic, which is why I do it the slower way. If you guys want to do it in a probably better way, then I would recommend taking commenters' advice, because it's really cool. I've never thought of doing it that way before. After I've done the outline, I make a new layer, and this is for shadows, so I set it to multiply, and then I use like a purple tone to do shadows. I just prefer purple. I think blue can make it look kind of muddy sometimes. And I think purple, especially with red, looks pretty good. I think it makes it look a bit less dull than using blue. I think blue can make it darker. I don't really know anything about colour theory, so don't come for me. So I'm basically just deepening the shadows with multiply, and then I'm also adding some more highlights in like a kind of, it's kind of the middle between the darker and the lighter colour, just because I felt like it needed a bit more contrast. And then yeah, I finished the strawberry. I actually hated it when I finished it. Now I'm looking at it again, I think it looks not bad at all, and I think I was being a bit dramatic. Now I'm going to show you guys how I export it onto a bigger canvas without it losing any quality whatsoever. So this is good if you're using it for posting, or if you want to just make it bigger to make things like stickers or whatever out of it. So this is like a teapot that I did. What you do is you get it in layers, and then you press copy, and then you go onto a new canvas, a bigger canvas, whatever size canvas you want it to be. It doesn't matter. It will be completely fine either way. And then you go into actions, go into add in actions, and press paste, and then it will be on your canvas. As you can see, it's really tiny because that's the size that we were drawing it. But don't worry, it's completely fine. You just need to make sure that your interpolation is set to nearest neighbour. So at the bottom, you can see on the taskbar, it will either be bilinear, bicubic, or nearest neighbour, and you want to make sure that it's nearest neighbour, because if it's not, then it will pixelate and the quality will be rubbish. And you can resize it yourself, or you can press fit to canvas, and then it will be completely fine. Like when I zoom in here, it's really crisp, there's no like pixelation, and you can do that with any. So this is the landscape one that I did. So if I copy that and I paste that into the same canvas, do the same, make sure the interpolation is on nearest neighbour, and then I will press fit to canvas on this one, and then there we go. It's completely fine. Now I'm going to show you how to get a grid on Procreate for doing pixel art. It's quite good if you're doing very small pixel items. Basically, you start out with your 150 by 150 pixel canvas. Then you go into actions, and then you go into canvas. Then you press drawing guide, and then edit drawing guide. As you can see, the grid has come up. It is not the right size for doing pixel art. The squares are currently 5 pixels, and we want them to be 1 pixel. So at the bottom, you can see the grid size, and you can either slide it down to 1 pixel, or you can put it in manually. It's easier to just put it in manually. So you change the 5 pixel to 1 pixel. And then the cubes will be the exact same size as the pixel brush that you're using. Using a horrible colour, but as you can see, it's a lot easier to follow for shapes and stuff. Here I'm just drawing like a little figure, and I do change the colour into orange, which makes it a lot easier to see, thankfully. And yeah, that's how you get the grid on Procreate. You can do assisted drawing if you want, like if you want straight lines or whatever. I don't find it particularly helpful when doing pixel art, because it kind of just sticks to the lines rather than the squares, which is what you need. But it's good for doing if you need straight lines and you need that assistance. And yeah, that's basically how I do pixel art on Procreate. If there's any other tutorials that you guys want me to do, let me know in the comments, and also let me know if you do try doing pixel art and how it went for you. It's actually really fun, and let me know if you guys try it out. And as I said, if there's any more videos that you want to see in particular, then let me know. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.